All right, hi everyone. Today I'm going to be covering how to access and navigate the ProQuest Learning and Literature tutorial on the CALS website. That's one of the many resource databases that the library offers, and I hope that you guys will listen along and maybe get to use this in the future as well. So as we can see here, I'm on our website. This image in the background might seem a little different whenever you come on because it does change, but not to worry about that. The tabs at the top should still be the same. So under the Learn tab, we're going to see Research, Resources, and Online Learning. We're going to go over to Research Tools and click on that. Next, because we're specifically looking up a database on literature, you have two options to search for that. So you can either come to the right here where it says Research Tools by Subject, and you'll see that we have literature down here. Keep in mind, literacy and literature are different, but if you want to just look on the left, everything is in alphabetical order. So since it does start with AP, you might have to go through these tabs a little bit longer. I do find that it's easier to just navigate using the Research Tools by Subject option, but of course you can also scroll through alphabetically if you choose. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Literature. And you can see ProQuest Learning Literature. It's going to be the first thing that pops up. It's above the Art and Humanities database. You can kind of read the little blurb about that here, about what it contains, but I'm going to go ahead and click Go to ProQuest Learning Literature. Okay, now we see that it takes us to ProQuest. One of the things that's important to look whenever you first access this resource is where you're looking at the top and it says access provided by Central Arkansas Library System. If it doesn't say that, you might have some issues accessing more of the paid services because it's seeing that you're trying to log in as an individual instead of logging in through the library. So just make sure it says that. If yours doesn't say that, you can just go back to the CALS website and click on it again, and hopefully that should work, or refresh the page. But now that we're here, this is what the website looks like. You can see up here we've got a bunch of different options. I always recommend using basic search unless you're needing something really in-depth for, an academic paper or just your own personal research. That basic search isn't giving you the information that you need. For this purpose, we are just going to use basic search, but as you can see, you do have advanced search options as well as publications if you want to search publications that are authored by a specific person. For this point, I'm going to go ahead and look up Jane Austen. I'm going to hit enter, and we can see that a lot of the resources that pull up are going to be about Jane Austen. So we can see that there's criticism, primary text, author pages, reference works, and secondary sources. To kind of explain each of these, criticism, these are writings that kind of challenge former writings that we know about. So we can see imperialism and the abject Gothic double, Jane Goodwin Austen's After 3,000 Years. So this is a criticism on Jane Austen's After 3,000 Years. If you're looking for, conflicting works or works that are going to be pointing out maybe what the author got wrong. Next, we've got primary texts. So these are going to be the primary works of the person that you're looking up. So we can see that all of the authors here are by Jane Goodwin Austen, and these are each of the works. Author pages, if you're looking for information about Jane Austen but not necessarily wanting to know about her works or criticisms about her work, you can just click on the first thing that pulls up. Typically that is just going to be the direct author page. And then reference works, these are going to be works that reference Jane Austen's work in their titles or in their books. So we see that there's a ProQuest bibliography of Ann Arbor, which does include Jane Austen. So if you just want to look at the reference works that talk about Jane Austen's work, but not necessarily going in depth about her or her works, you can use that. And then secondary sources are, sometimes they're a little unrelated. A Moral World Without God on the Religion of Humanity of George Eliot and Silas Marner. We can see that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Jane Austen, but this bottom text does, and we can see that it's a biography written by Kevin Barry and Hilary Mantel about Jane Austen's life. If that's something that you're looking for, you can kind of look through these texts right here. The first piece of text is going to be the title of the source. The second piece of text is going to be the authors. And then the third piece of text is going to be the, publishing information. So it's a biography. It's volume 21, issue 2. So this can also help you look through if you're looking for a specific volume, issue, or date when it was published, and page range. If we are using this for academic works, we want to make sure that it is peer-reviewed, which means that it has been deemed credible by a panelist of knowledgeable people. So I'm going to go ahead and click peer-reviewed. Okay, and then say I only want peer-reviewed works that are criticisms about other works that Jane Austen has done. So I can come down to content type here, and criticism is the first thing that pops up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on criticism. Okay, and now everything that has been pulled up is both peer-reviewed and is listed as a criticism of Jane Austen's work. And then some other things, this is going to be your filter section. This is what you can do to modify your searches to make your results less abstract. So if you're looking for some information that was published specifically only from 2000 to 2009, we can change the range. And also what these little bars represent is how many pieces of work were published during that time. So since this one, 2000 to 2009, has the most records, I'm going to go ahead and hit update. And now once again, we're only seeing issues, as we can see, that were published from 2000 to 2009. And then if we want to go through publication title, document type, and subject, publication title, of course, just means the place that published the work. So if you're looking for, Texas Studies in Literature and Language, you can click on that. If you're looking for a specific document type, keep in mind these are now criticisms that are peer-reviewed and were published between 2000 and 2009. But if you want to further simplify it down, you can pick between an article, feature, commentary, and then lastly the subject. Because it is Jane Austen, most of these subjects are going to be nonfiction or literary criticism. However, you do have more options here, and you can also click the More section to see more. So the next thing that we're going to do is say we want to read this for whatever reason. You can go ahead and click on it. You'll get the abstract and the full text. We've got some options up at the top. You can download this as a PDF. So if you don't have access to the internet, for whatever reason, you can download this as a PDF to your computer. You can cite this work, which I really enjoy doing for any type of academic paper that I need to reference, because you just click on it, and you can click how you need it cited and then just copy and paste, and it cites it for you. If you're in a group project or want to share this with somebody, you have the option to email it. And if you want to access it, of course, without the internet, but you don't want to download it onto your computer, you can print it. Lastly, with all options, we can see that we've got a few more options of how you can export the citation. EndNote's pretty common to use. You can also export it as a certain type of file if you need it to be a certain type of file. And then you also have the option to save it to your cloud. So whether it be Google Drive, Google Classroom, or Microsoft OneDrive. Next, if you don't want to back up, if you don't want to look at the abstract, you can just go to full text PDF, and we can see that it brings up all 23 pages. You just have the option to scroll through. And then if you need the references of this paper, you can also click on references right here. We can see that this is every piece of reference that this author used in publishing this piece of work. Lastly, if we want to go to back to results, you find that this wasn't the document that you were looking for, you can just hit back to results. Then furthermore, if you need to modify your search for whatever reason, you can also click on modify, and as you can see, it'll take you right back. Once again, if you want to use advanced search, you do have that option right there. But this really is the entirety of using the ProQuest database, and most ProQuest databases that you'll encounter are laid out very similar to this. So, if you want to look at another ProQuest database that we have that isn't specifically literature, everything that I've talked about in this video is likely to apply to that other ProQuest database. One more important thing to mention is if you want to log in and create a research account, this is a way that you can save those papers to your account, but not necessarily print it out or download it to your computer. If you don't want to do that, you do have that option right here. This really is the entirety, like I said, of using this database, but if you have any questions or need assistance navigating this, feel free to email me at ledixon@cals.org, and I'll do my best to help.